Hello and welcome to this session of Voidheart Symphony. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. That has links to everything that we do, including our blog, which has lots and lots of resources, including all of our online tools for running, and links to our podcast network. Tomorrow, which is probably by the time that this is up, it will be this day. We have the new podcast episode with Kieran Gillen talking about Die. So that's pretty exciting. I haven't heard it, so I'm very much looking forward to listening to it. We are here at the end of the sort of investigation phase, the sort of city phase, with our characters getting ready to head into the castle and into their particular vassal's shard. And if I am correct, there are sort of two goals that you have right now. One is to go in and confront the enforcer, and then find your way to the heart of the vassal's shard to disrupt things there. Am I correct on that? Okay, good. Mm-hmm. It's good I can remember things from week to week, which is not always the case. So we are here. I think the only people who have conditions marked, Pam and Gabriel each have a condition marked, and then Sasha has a couple. So as I said at the end of last session, we're going to start kind of right at the door. Again, you've returned back to the location, again, back down into the transit area, the subway transport station. I'm assuming, Charlotte, you have your little transit guide, metro guide jacket on as you head in. You three, for Patrick, with Sasha, will notice that when you kind of walk past and look into that cyber cafe, you will definitely notice that Kubiak is not there, which isn't surprising, given the bombshells that you dropped on him earlier. But this remains the space that you can move into the castle via. And so we'll see you head down that hallway. There's that classic, the further you get down, the more it kind of lights flicker and the atmosphere changes before you finally reach the location and prepare to shift over into the other world. So this is a move. This is dive into darkness. So one of you is going to be leading this, and you will check against blood. Who has the best blood right now? What's your blood, Sherry? You're muted.
Sorry, that is a fine question. I believe that my blood is terrifically
the
bad.
best blood is Sasha's.
The best blood is Sasha's.
We're all
at everyone else, I think, is at 3.
Yes. Then amongst all of you who have a 3, which of you wishes to roll? I would suggest that it be Charlotte or Pam, because Gabriel did work last time to gain advantage on the Travel the Labyrinth move. So they should probably roll that. Charlotte, Pam, who feels lucky?
I mean, I don't, but
okay.
I can roll if you want.
Sure. Why don't you roll this one and I'll roll the next.
Okay.
So this is just the 2d6 though.
2d6. Right? You want 4s. Look at that.
Okay.
So that is a strong success. So on a hit, you appear in the shard in safe place. Each rebel is going to have their castle form with their signature weapon and gear. So let's again take a moment as you move in to get that description, see if there's any changes. Gabriel, when you come through, is there anything different? You had that experience last time. Is there anything different about you this time as you come through, or is it pretty much still the same?
I'm thinking basically the same right now. That might
Okay.
change as we get further on.
And what do you look like? Just the elevator description.
I think my hair is perpetually damp. My character has a very aquatic, sort of connected to the water sort of motif about them. So my hair is always very damp. I think that my clothes sort of cling to me as if they were damp. I always walk around with these sort of wet footprints that I'm leaving behind me. And there is this very translucent quality to my skin where light sort of filters through me as if it were someone underwater looking up at the rays of light that are kind of coming down from the surface.
Perfect. And Charlotte, what about you?
So there's a sort of continuity between the lighting around Gabriel, except that around Charlotte, it very much comes across as sort of light through water, where you see it kind of, it moves and diffracts in that way that it does when you're underwater and you're seeing light. And she is dressed in, you still see that she kind of has the shape of the jacket on as the, the ambassador, transit ambassador. But she has started to, she has like it looks like fish scales and stuff kind of coming out from under, and she wore black underneath, and now it looks more and more like, not like a diving suit, which it kind of looked like before, but more like her skin is just darker there and it's continuous with those scales.
Nice.
And when she moves, since there's darkness at her feet, whenever she moves, and it's sort of like, it always seems like she doesn't move and then she does a push forward, like she's moving through water. And that's sort of like somewhere there are fins that are propelling her forward.
Perfect. And Pam, what about you?
So Pam looks she looks kind of like her normal self, except her eyes have enlarged and become kind of glistening open cat eyes that reflect all the light around. And when trouble happens, her hands will extend into claws as well.
Awesome. And you again are in that sort of cityscape, that sort of Art Deco appearance, that same setting that we saw before, with you seeing the people moving back and forth, the big building with the Atlas Shrugged cover kind of design all throughout here. Now, mechanically, you're going to have advantage on the roll to find the enforcer, but because of Gabriel's thing, you'll also have advantage on the later roll. So we're going to keep those fleeting advantages, one for each of those rolls. We see you head in, I assume kind of using that shortcut that you found to enter into the building before. That's that, tall ceilings, marble, click clack. Tell me, Gabriel, what's something here that tells you that the shard, the castle, is on a higher level of alert?
Have they added surveillance cameras?
Okay, and what do those look like? How do they, are they conventional cameras? Are they a sort of decorative motif? What do we see?
Eyes coming out of the wall.
Okay, kind of looking around, that sort of blink and look, very, very almost sort of D&D or Elden Ring weirdness that has kind of infiltrated into here. Charlotte, as you move along, what's something here, a manifestation or physical sign that tells you that there's definitely some shakeup that has occurred to Kubiak's psyche?
I think that there are high up, like we're in these the sort of as we're going down hallways and stuff like that, up like maybe starting 8 feet up, going up another 10 feet or so, there are these long, tall, oblong windows. And the thing that you get is that there's something outside of those windows that's like disturbed and fluttering around, like crows or some kind of like, but everything's startling all the time. It's not startling to us, it's just startled. And you kind of keep getting that thing. Every once in a while, even a thump against the window.
Absolutely. And as you move through these halls, you will see there are screens. We saw this before, screens of information and things like that. What kinds of things are displayed on these screens about you, Pam? What has been dug up online, pulled out, kind of flickering through here on these display screens?
Okay. I'm thinking it's stuff from my sealed juvie record, as it were. Trouble I've gotten into, some very unflattering high school pictures. Yeah, and yeah,
some of your
and
merchant marine service notes, that kind of thing too.
Oh yeah, probably. Probably the notes from the one supervisor or sorry, the one commanding officer who really took a heated dislike towards me. But yeah, none of the good stuff, just the bad stuff.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. Let us have then for this first move for the travel the labyrinth move. Shall we have Gabriel do this this roll?
And is that the one that I have fleeting advantage on?
Well, you'll have the fleeting advantage on this one and the next one, just because of the rolls that you all got. So I'm good with whoever wishes to roll here.
I can take it. That's fine.
Okay. So when you
yeah.
lead the group through the labyrinthine corridors of the castle, are you going to mark void?
Yeah, because otherwise I'm at a -1.
Okay. So that's a +1. You haven't defeated an enforcer, so that's a 0. But you have spent time studying the vassal, so that's a +1. So you're rolling with +1, and you are rolling with advantage.
Okay. Okay. Nine.
Look at that. So that is a 9. So you will move along, trying to find, trying to trace the path. You're following some of the scent and lines that you picked up before, going through these hallways until you come to a long hallway, very high ceilings. There are every maybe 30, 40 feet, there's a dangling sort of glazed silver lamp hanging down. So there's a little bit of shadows because the lamps don't quite connect up. But along the walls, good 12 feet tall are filing cabinets, just filing cabinets after filing cabinets after filing cabinets, just kind of in a parallel row. There's stuff on top, stacks of documents and things on top, and some of the filing cabinets are open, and it feels a little like kind of endless because you've got that vanishing point as the three of you are walking along, kind of looking. You kind of look. The filing cabinets have those kind of yellowed cards with typewritten little things, but a lot of them are like old style typewriters, but they've written out like website HTML locations and things like that. And the three of you are walking along, kind of, okay, this is clearly the space. And I believe one of you had a vision of the Enforcer before. Was that you, Gabriel, or was that Sasha?
I don't remember it being me, no.
Okay, so I think it was Sasha that got this vision. So I think there is a moment when you're walking along, when you're a ways down this hallway, that Sasha goes, "Oh," and I'm going to admit Sasha right now. Get Sasha connected up to the audio. Hey, Patrick.
Hello.
Hey, so you are listening in?
Yes.
Okay. So Sasha, you've been walking along behind the group. What do you, this hallway with the filing cabinets and these sort of kind of dim lighting as you're walking along, what do you say to the group when you suddenly realize that this is the background that you saw that Enforcer in?
I think he begins like
Did you get cut off, Patrick?
oh maybe what'd you hear?
He begins like,
Oh gotcha, like lovely. Looking up in the curves of the ceiling and grabbing the next person in line saying, "Do you hear anything? I think we're getting close."
so Charlotte, Sasha reaches out, kind of puts his hand on your shoulder, and I think that's the moment at which the light kind of flickers, and you will see this thing kind of drop down out of the high ceiling, and it is kind of a drider, a human, like librarian type, librarian or like funeral directory type, with a great spider body at the back end and all of these enormous daddy long leg arms, and it drops down and immediately begins kind of scuttling up along the wall and moving to attack you. Charlotte, what do you do?
And just real quick, Lowell,
Sure.
I'm going to start driving, so I won't be able to
Okay.
respond, but I will still be listening, and I'll let you know when I get home.
Perfect.
Okay, so he's there.
Yeah. I think
So
there is a
he's
moment where you
there, and then he
see
disappears.
Yeah, Sasha kind of falls back, like maybe the first swing of one of these spiders' legs knocks Sasha back temporarily out of the fight. What do you do, Charlotte?
I think what I want to do is get some space between me and this spider,
Okay.
because I have a ranged weapon. But in essence, I'm getting ready for an attack, I guess.
So line it up. Does that
Line
feel
it
like
up,
what you? Yeah.
whatever that is, sure. So what do I roll for that?
So line it up is when you size up an enemy to locate a weak spot, roll plus coins.
Okay. I think coins I have a 1 in. So, and this is just plain old 2D plus.
We're now back to 2d6 and
Who would've
reading those
thought?
numbers together.
So I'm gonna roll 2d6, so I'm gonna add 1 to it, okay?
Okay.
All right, and I keep on rolling low. The 4s are back. Hooray, so that means it's a 5 total.
That is a 5 total. So when you kind of try to move off,
Yes.
there is the head spins when it senses the moment, and it vomits out this spray of black ichor that splatters at your feet and essentially sticks you in place.
Disgusting. Yes. So,
So right now you are unable to move.
and I'm going to express my dismay with a high-pitched squeal. There you go.
Perfect. Pam, what
So
do you want to do?
Is it possible for me to try to use pressure to sort of intercept that attack on Charlotte?
It is possible. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I wanted to do. I'm not sure when the fact that this can be described as an intercept move.
Yeah.
Makes it a little weird.
Yeah. So technically what's happening is the reaction there is the attack to cause an effect from one of their aspects. And so it seems reasonable for you to move to intercept that.
Okay. That is so yeah, that's what I'm doing. I feel like I'm going to give myself advantage on that by channeling a bit of my my bond with, or it's not bond, what is it? Covenant with Amira.
Okay. So fade that covenant and go ahead and make that roll.
All right. Okay, so that is a 9.
That is a 9. So I assume that the effect you want is give an ally a window to act freely, essentially stop them from being glued down.
I mean, yeah, right. If that will work, yes.
Yeah, that would be the choice
okay.
to actually stop that effect from hitting Charlotte.
Yeah.
And they have an opening on you at this moment. So I may come back on that.
I fully expect that. So I imagine that it's Maul's literally moving Charlotte out of the way and kind of trying to roll out from the attack.
Push back and get yourself clear there. What are you doing, Gabriel?
So Charlotte was basically affixed in position. Pam kind of moved in to intercept and was
Pam actually managed to get and push Charlotte out of the way before she could get stuck.
That was okay. Yep, I'm following now. So that was the intercept move.
Yep.
Okay. So I think at this point, this thing used a ranged attack, right?
Yeah, it spat out this horrible blast of ick.
Okay. See, what I was gonna do was I was going to run to the front, brandish my harpoon, and stay put. And if this thing advances on us, I'm the first one it has to deal with. But if it has a ranged attack, I'm just gonna have to run up and hit the thing.
Absolutely.
Staying put is not going to help you there. So the move there is
you need to get yourself an opening.
Yeah, before you can strike.
Right. Well, you can either do that by pressure or lining it up. So if you're observing or you're attacking. If you're attacking, it would be pressure. If you're observing, it's more line it up.
Let's do pressure then. So I'm going to be launching my own with swords.
Right. So when you launch your own with swords, let's leap up with the harpoon. do you mention that you travel along the ground, or is it kind of a double jump, or what do we see here?
Oh, well, I hadn't considered that we could do double jumps in this world, but that's very cool. Great question. I'm thinking, maybe if this thing is facing this direction, spitting that way, I'm over here kind of like wall running along the
Absolutely.
side with the harpoon out, and I'm going to do a leap off the wall at this thing.
Perfect. Let's have you roll with swords.
Okay, I think that's a +2 total. Whew, and it is a 10.
That is a 10. So pick 2.
Let's see. Let's expose an opening and pin them in place. I think that's the way we'll do it. Maybe the pinning in place, maybe there's like a flank that happens here. Like I kind of jump over to one side. I'm able to strike them with the harpoon, if not stab them. And I just kind of land after doing maybe some kind of, backward somersault through the air on the other side of it so that it is flanked and it is not easy for it to move back and forth at this point. Would that count as immobilizing?
Absolutely. It can't quite do its sort of wall scuttles. You've got it held there, and you have that opening on them. I would like, though, as it launches out at the 2 people that have openings on Pam, Gabriel, it will spray out these threads that shoot out to try and wrap around. I would like each of you to roll dodge. Let's start with Pam.
All right. So that's ones. This one ones. So that's an 11.
That's an 11. So you dodge. You're not going to be marking anything. What do you want as your one pick of sort of the cost for dodging?
So I feel like probably separated. I've had to sort of duck through some of the filing cabinets, and while the cabinets are protecting me from the spray, they're being slammed. Like the gap I went through is being slammed shut by the spider threads.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to go the long way to get back into where my allies are.
Absolutely. Gabriel, what about you? What'd you roll?
I'll roll now. I'm at a minus. Ooh, that's a 4.
That is a 4.
Yeah.
So it sends those threads out and it wraps around your neck and it kind of pulls in and tightens on that. I'd like you to mark a condition.
Sure.
What are you going to mark?
Yeah, I'm thinking let's go with scared.
Okay.
We'll go with scared.
Yeah, grabs on, clamps on. You can feel it that tightens, kind of trying to choke you out. Charlotte, what are you doing?
There's an opening, right?
There is an opening that was created by Gabriel.
And I have paid mightily for it. I think I may take the chance to try to strike them. I'm using my bow, so I think that would be the precise insight of going for a hit to something that would be vital from a ranged position.
Absolutely.
And essentially they talk about like knocking a quality out.
So there are 3 qualities that our foe has.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what essentially they have a quality reflecting the attack, the threads throwing out. They have a attack representing their mobility, which is the scuttling, and they have another one, which in this case is kind of altering the environment through the sticky goo.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I think my thing is that I want to go, but let's see if I hit. No, no getting ahead of myself here. So I'm
Sure.
rolling coins. This is again a +1.
Okay.
And then is there like any other way to get yourself an advantage or?
Yes. Well, you can evoke the covenant, and after rolling the dice, and you can reduce it, fate and intense covenant, and re-roll one of your dice.
Okay, all right. I will be mindful of that. So I'm going to roll 2d6. I'll add 1 to it.
Okay.
So that's the 6. That makes it a 7.
Okay.
So, and since I can only boost it 1, then I will live with the 7.
Okay. So which are you breaking? Are you breaking the like the direct attacking, the movement, or its goopiness?
The strings, essentially the direct attack, because it's Gabriel, and I will.
What does that
Has
look
to
like?
get
Like how does that happen?
So there is a thing of she's gotten that sort of pushed out of the way by Pam, and she's incredibly embarrassed. But the thing is that as she sort of gets herself around, she sees all of these things happen very fast, where essentially both of them have to leap out of the way. Gabriel kind of gets that hit in so that the creature's looking away, and it's that moment when she realizes that Gabriel's sort of done all of this to get that opening where she brings up her bow, and it's that thing of this is the thing that she's practiced just so much in the gym and everything. It's like sort of that weird thing of when you see she picks it up and she's still sort of in a panic, but as soon as she starts to draw back, she gets really calm, and she just does this sort of bead thing. And I suppose that because it's a game, and they're trying to make it look exciting. There's the whole thing of, you see the sort of like the target thing of where the arrow is going to go, kind of dance across the monster. You have to hit the button for it to land on one of the qualities, and she goes for the strings, it gets that. So so you get that thing, and then pow, and it's just this arrow that goes in, and all these hearts come out, and water bubbles and things. It's very.
There's an additional explosion when that goes up. We see that effect, we also see the strings, that kind of the storage of that kind of shatters and explodes, and the air is filled with like little bits of sharp confetti that actually creates a little bit of makes it a little bit harder to see in here, and kind of have to protect yourself a little. That's the break move there. You also need to pick a thing for the 7 to 9 list there.
I know. Yes. So here I am. I'm just trying to find the right place on my thing. Okay, so that's castle moves, and that's the break. And so I think they lash out at me, and I mark a condition.
What do you want to mark?
And I think it is, I get like a face full of that confetti, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So let's see here. So I don't want to mark anything, but I will mark.
Thank you.
Goodness golly, I got to get more used to these. Let's see here. How about who? Probably callous.
Okay.
In the sense of, does that make sense? Like, now that it's like this kind of thing that we've gotten in, she just wants more. Like, she wants to really go after this thing.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
I think that's perfect. Pam, so this cloud has exploded of this razor sharp confetti. This enforcer thing is still kind of stuck in position there by Gabriel, but it is still swinging around. The string that was holding Gabriel's throat has been severed. What do you do, Pam?
Okay, so I'm gonna try to work my way around, so I feel like this gives me an opportunity to try to get on top of some of the filing cabinets and get a good look at the situation.
Okay.
So if I can go right to line it up, I'd like to, but if I can't, I can do some parkour. So
now I think given the small space that you're in.
Okay.
I think that line it up still feels good here.
Okay. All right. All right. So I'll give that a roll. All right. That is an 8.
That is an 8. So you're going to find an opening. What
Yes.
is the opening that you find?
So I think the opening is that the gooey stuff that this creature's creating adheres to the files that are coming out in the midst of combat,
Mhm.
and that if we and that means that attacking the filing cabinets near it will actually be pretty debilitating
Okay.
for the enforcer.
Uh,
And I have to pick 2 downsides. Right?
Yes.
So downside number 1 is that the foe sees me because I've had to stand on top of one of the filing cabinets to do this.
Okay.
And second, the foe is going to send an attack my way.
Okay.
So I have disadvantage on strike. I'm
Okay.
making note of that.
So you're picking the attack your way as the other one. So you don't get the disadvantage. Let's go ahead and have you roll that dodge, though.
Sorry. Yes. Dodge. All right. Here we go. All right. That is a 7.
That's a 7. What do you want as your picks?
All right.
Push further back. You're already separated away from your allies, making it harder for them to help you.
So I'm probably going to I don't really have a separable weapon, so I can't leave that valuable behind. So I'm probably going to stumble.
Okay.
I'm sure I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna get attacked and sort of fall off the filing cabinet.
Okay.
So I don't know. I feel like that means my notebook is gonna go flying.
Okay. Yeah, kind of goes flying out of your hand as you kind of thrown back a bit there, kind of pulling yourself up from the mess of these filing cabinets. Gabriel, you see that happen. Charlotte has fired her bow. Sasha is still getting himself together. Pam has kind of gotten knocked about. What do you do?
I don't suppose we have an opening at this point, do we? We've still got
do.
one.
Yeah, we got one.
Yep.
All
I
right,
got
let's go
a
ahead
not
and-
short duration opening.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and pull in with a strike then, if I can do so.
Okay. How are you doing this strike?
I think this is it's almost mythological in its appearance. I mean, imagine, the sword and sandal young man charging with a spear. I mean, that's pretty much what we're doing here. This is just a full frontal attack, opening myself up to all manner of god awful retaliation.
Roll with swords.
Okay. Oh boy, that's a 5.
That is a 5. Now, you have the opportunity here to re-roll. If you're desperate after rolling dice, say which intense covenant you call on for aid. You fade it and re-roll one of the dice.
I'm gonna, let's do that. I'm gonna call on. Let's see here. I'm already seeing a couple of faded covenants on my character keeper. Do we share the ones that are faded?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think probably would be cleaned up because I thought that was from the earliest session.
Oh, well, there's one that, well, I guess what I'm saying here is on my character keeper, I've got a crew covenant that has 2 faded boxes, and then
Right.
all of my others have 1. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
And if I check one of my ones that has only 1 box, what happens?
It becomes faded, and we actually get the effect. You actually lose access to some of the moves that are associated with it.
Interesting. Okay.
You can the crew covenant allows you like one sort of freebie, but the others, as soon as you mark them faded, you lose some of their effect.
Okay. I will let's just see about, and intense means that it's not a minor one, right?
So intense covenant means it hasn't been faded.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just getting the terminology
Oh yeah,
straight.
and I know we got a lot of
Um,
terminology and things.
Yeah, also it's any committed covenant, you get 2 boxes on, as in you get the opportunity to go bright instead
Right,
of
which is what
intense.
we had said before.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Oh, yeah,
that's why
no,
it
I
has the 2 boxes.
Yeah, because I have a second committed covenant, so that's why I want to mention that.
Oh, I see that on your sheet. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
so,
Okay. You know what? I haven't interacted with her yet, and I think it'd be cool to do so. So I will fade my covenant with Asteria,
Okay.
and I'm calling upon basically all the power of Starlight and this commitment that I've sort of made internally to the one person who introduced me into this world, to the extent that Asteria is a person as opposed to a force of nature. And yeah, I'll re-roll my 1, I suppose.
Okay.
So this is just a flat re-roll. And it was a 5. So I think that gets me up to an 8
Okay.
or a 9. But yeah.
All right. So that is for on the cancel move. That's with that. So on a hit, you're going to remove an opening. We'll come back to some of the consequences of the fading here in just a second. Are you breaking the movement or this goo?
Let's break through the movement side of things.
Okay.
Don't want it to escape.
Then I think when you hit it this time, like it kicks and filing cabinets and files go flying everywhere, and it is just now this absolute cascade of debris that you're having to dodge around. What do you want as your 7 to 9 pick on the strike?
Let's say they get an opening on me. I think that
Okay.
fits with the description I was. Yeah, let's do that.
So as this is going on, like, do you imagine that calling on that covenant is more of a mental thing, or are we actually seeing a physical like manifestation of hysteria here?
I think that I'm absolutely surrounded by all the little floating pinpoints of light as this kind of almost small galaxy of stars begins to kind of swirl around me, and it looks very anime.
And I think you hear Hysteria say, "Oh, now you call on me. You don't bring me flowers anymore. Why don't you come and talk to me?" And now here we are in the middle of oh, watch out for that. Desperate things. And here we are doing this. Should I be disappointed or sad, Gabriel?
Do I have the space to respond to that?
I think this is all mental. Like, I think she says, "Well, I'll let you go for a bit. We're going to have this conversation." Let's cut back to Charlotte. This thing is clearly on its last legs. Gabriel is up there, has stabbed at this, but then you see this nimbus of light around Gabriel, and which ought to look more triumphant than it is, because Gabriel's face is not expressing a triumph necessarily.
Do I get any hint of Asteria off of them?
You have a connection to Asteria, right?
Yeah, I do.
Then
Yeah.
yes, I think you will recognize what is happening there.
I think there is that moment where she goes and it sort of like furrows her brow. She's like, Asteria? Weird.
Yeah. What is your
Hmm.
stepmom doing here?
Exactly. Well, my wannabe stepmom. I don't know. Oh, never mind.
It's so disappointing that you can't bring yourself to say stepmom. What are you doing?
I can't be more furious than I am right now, but it's not the right target. Yeah, I think that I'm going to create an opening. So my options for doing that are mostly the see clear. It's not see clear. What is it that does the opening? Is it line
Line
it
it
up?
up.
Line it up. Yeah, let's do line it up again. I did
Okay.
terribly at it, but I'm going to give that a try.
Roll with coins.
Okay. That's me rolling 2d6 and adding 1 to it. Oh my God, can the dice get any more cruel? They cannot.
They cannot.
Okay, there's a thing I can do.
Yes. Do you want to fade a covenant?
Yeah. And I think there is that thing is Esther kind of calls me out and I'm like, I think I'm going to use my covenant with Terrence for his castle move. Is that how you do that? Where you actually use their move?
Oh no, evoke a covenant just means you re-roll by fading a thing. But if you have a move, you can also do that.
Okay, so Terrence's castle move is there's power and destruction even when it's indiscriminate. When you accept pain in order to achieve your goal, succeed a move as if you rolled a 10 plus, but also pick one of the 10 plus results from push through pain.
Okay.
So I think that just hearing Asteria and going, oh no, I'm not going to mess up at this. And she goes full Terrence on this enforcer. I am going to, I think she's going to just pull one of her arrows out and sort of, I mean, it's coins, but this is fairly, she knows if she runs that thing up there and gets it, what's the remaining quality that he has? It's the sticky
This is
goo.
the sticky stuff.
Yeah, I think she's going to try to jam it, like, not to end it, but just to pull his attention. She's just going to do this so she can pull his attention away. She's going to come up to, like, his spidery self is sort of facing her right now because Gabriel's just gone at her. And so she's going for his underbelly to just stab right there for him to turn towards me. But I know that it's going to hurt.
So it becomes a 10 plus
Becomes a
on
10
the
plus.
lineup, which means you create that opening.
Mhm.
You need to pick one from line it up, and then we're going to come to the push through pain thing from that move.
Okay, so on a 10 plus, I only pick one from there. So I think that it's the foe sees me and I get a fleeting disadvantage on strike with
Okay.
him.
That's perfect.
Okay.
And then push through pain. You have to
Yes.
pick one from the 10 plus.
Okay, so that's going to be horrible. That's okay, because I don't know where it is.
Just above line it up is push through pain.
Sorry.
No.
Okay.
I mean, they're only like 6 or 7 moves.
Shift of rank of world to void and unleash this new strength in a brutal and indiscriminate way. Oh, that sounds like it takes some time. I hope no one minds, but it does sound weird and odd.
Okay.
So I'm going to switch over to my character, and this is me where I'm taking a thing from world and moving it to void.
See, they can't do that though, because you don't have any ranks of world yet.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't do that one. And I think then I'll just be like unconscious or something, right?
So you are knocked backwards.
Yeah.
As you go in, you call on that strength, you leap in a brutal and striking way, and are knocked backwards in a way. I think that Sasha, this is your time, your moment, your opportunity, given that Pam has been separated from the group and thrown back, given that Gabriel has just gone, and here's Charlotte. Do you want to strike to try and take advantage of this opening?
Yes. I think, like, as the whole melee started, Sasha sort of faded back into the shadows between filing cabinets. This sort of smoke from his jacket, I think, thickened and hid him. And there's just been, throughout the combat, every now and then there's been a little, like, side shot of a little fog of smoke creeping along the ground, and the sound of like chains slithering over the floor. This just happened like several times throughout the battle. And now with this thing having turned in under itself, trying to get at Charlotte, has put it in the perfect spot where Sasha comes leaping down from the ceiling, pulling on a line of this red chain as this like complicated webwork of chains tightens around all of its limbs and tries to yank it up and incapacitate it.
All right. So this feels like wands, stealth and guile.
Ooh, sure. I think I'm bad at that.
You can. It also be precise insight, coins. I think I would go with either of those.
Fight spot openings help your allies exploit them. Dodge away from others. Yeah, I like coins.
Yeah,
Spotting
let's do that.
openings. Yeah. Oh god.
It
Roller.
leans into your tethering from your signature weapon. So yeah.
Yes, all of that description, and let's see how this goes. Yep, thing. Do some dice. Oh, that's a 9.
That is a 9. So on a 9, you will succeed. And how is it that you break that final quality that like finally shatter this thing and the ick that is within it?
So I think what it is that those chains, they like wrap around its legs individually, and they pull them all tight, sort of like a straitjacket, to where it's sort of squeezing itself with its own legs and starts like squeezing out the last of that black goo like a toothpaste tube.
Yeah, and then it will kind of shiver and kind of break, and it explodes into notes and pieces of paper and post-its and files and things like that, and just kind of now the floor is just covered with black tar and paperwork everywhere, and this thing is gone. And you'll see Charlotte kind of have to Gabriel have to pull her out from amongst the papers and garbage and such there. And there's that kind of quiet in the aftermath.
I think on the 7 to 9 choice, the thing that probably makes the most sense.
Oh no, you finished it off because you did the last break quality. I don't trigger a break move, and you don't have to pick anything.
Oh, there wasn't a break off of that?
No, because it's the
Nice.
fun. If you break its final quality, it's defeated and
Nice.
no longer a threat.
Hurrah!
It's one of the few merciful moves in the game.
Oh, weird. Interesting. That is neat. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that.
So we need to get to a break room.
I think we'll see all of you kind of standing up, that goo all around you. And let's take our first break here. We'll take 10 and then we'll come back. Okay. So let's look at then what happens after this. It is essentially when you search for a safe space to hide and recover after you've fought this enforcer, someone needs to roll wands. I think right now it is either Sasha or Charlotte that needs to roll this, since we've had Pam and Gabriel have both rolled sort of transit moves to enter and to travel. Charlotte, do you want to do that?
I don't know. What's my wands? Probably terrible.
It
I think
is
we
like
both have a
Sasha's
0.
0.
0. Okay, so
Yeah, but you don't have disadvantage on your next move.
that's true. So I'll roll 2d6 and take it even. Hey, a 9, so not horrible.
A 9. So we look at that. So it does mean that the advantage that you would have on the next travel with Labyrinth is canceled out by a disadvantage.
What?
But it is a hit. So each of you gets to pick one. Comfort another rebel, heal one of their conditions, encourage another rebel, intensify their crew covenant, or use your playbook's shelter move. So, Gabriel, what do you want to do?
Let's see here. What is my shelter move? Here we go. You can tap into the thoughts of a nearby enforcer. That might not be relevant here.
True.
So the other option was was it intensify a covenant, or
You
to
can intensify someone else's crew covenant if they faded it, or you can comfort another rebel and heal one of their conditions.
Okay, let's do some comforting.
Okay.
Here. I'm gonna go for Sasha, I think.
Okay.
And shall I role play that now, or are we just declaring what we're
Yeah,
doing?
but let's role play that, and we'll go around here.
Okay, I think that I'm just going to go for a whole lot of validation. And as we kind of are picking ourselves up and regaining our bearings, I just go to Sasha and kind of leaning on my harpoon, I just look at him and say, "What the hell was that?" And I say it almost laughing a little bit, like it's so bewildering that this is what we're dealing with.
I don't know. It was just there was a spider guy, and I thought, well, webs, and then I was just doing it.
Well, we did pretty well, I think. I say, kind of looking at everyone else. Let's just hope that nobody else is like that. And I say that kind of inwardly knowing that there's definitely a lot more where that came from, because I've been in the castle a time or two. But I offer the words of support at least.
Nice. Sasha, what do you want to clear?
I suppose we should make. Oh, interesting. So the conditions I have give me disadvantage, one with line it up and one with pressure. So it's sort of like, how do I want to hunt for openings?
Mm-hmm.
What is? Sorry, moves everywhere. Swords or coins. So I want to try and line it up. So I want to get rid of overwhelmed.
Okay.
There's a lot going on in the castle, but Gabriel's right. Like all of us, all four of us here physically together as a unit, we can actually handle some of this shit.
Awesome.
Lo,
Yes.
I have a fairly significant shelter move that
Okay.
I don't know. So I have home cooking. It's a gear, and it says, quote unquote, expend when you shelter to let each rebel heal a particular condition. I think that what that means is I name a condition and everyone who has it.
Yes.
Or is that how that works?
Yep.
And since three of us have callus,
Mm-hmm.
it sort of makes sense that
Yeah.
if I've brought, like, I don't know, some sort of celebration cake, like we're the best, and or cute matching cupcakes, I don't know, something like that. So
And that's expend. That's in addition to what you want for
Yeah.
your you get to make your pick there. So
move,
everybody
yeah.
can clear callus.
How did you keep the icing from getting gooed?
Oh, and she'll point out the intricate toothpick structure that she had to put in place.
And then what
She's
do you
a
want?
future in architecture. So yeah.
What do you want for your fine shelter move?
Oh, let's see here. And is that a castle move? Yeah.
That is castle move.
Okay. I'm always just like, okay, I think
E41.
it's, ooh. So how about I'll comfort another rebel and heal one of their conditions? So maybe we can get rid of all the conditions going in here.
There
Or at
are
least a chunk of
2
them.
people that have scared, Sasha and Gabriel.
Okay, so how about Gabriel?
And what does that look like?
And I think she's gonna go and kind of sit down next to him and say, you really, and she sort of stops and goes, you really inspired me to give it my all. And I want to be good at these things like you are.
Well, thanks. It's not easy. It scares the heck out of me, to be honest with you, but it's good that someone notices.
She goes, I can't not notice.
Nice. Clear that condition. Pam, what would you like to do?
All right. This is probably a disastrous thing to do, but I'm going to use my shelter move.
I thought you might.
So, because I need to start clearing some. I've got a bunch of fleeting disadvantages, and I need to start using them.
Okay.
So I'm going to be sort of meditating on the nature of this particular labyrinth and this particular delve, and trying to understand its overriding architecture. Trying to get into the mind of Russ.
Perfect. Let's have
So-
you roll.
Yep. So I'm rolling this with disadvantage. All right. So I actually got a 7, which means that I mark void.
That's right.
So and I get persistent advantage for the entire delve on travel the labyrinth.
Okay. So that'll since we already canceled the advantage disadvantage, so you can put that on. So we have.
Well, I
advantage
actually have
again.
another disadvantage on travel the labyrinth. I've had a fleeting labyrinth disadvantage since the last time we were in the labyrinth.
That's right.
So yes.
Oh, what was it? Was that when you were in here before? Or was
Yes.
it this time? If it was when you're in before, that doesn't carry over. Fleeting.
Oh, okay. Got
Fleeting
it.
would go away in between.
All right.
Yeah.
I was not sure.
Oh yeah. No. That doesn't carry over.
Okay. So
So you'll have that.
so I just have disadvantage on my next strike, or does that go away now that the combat's over?
It does because
Okay.
the combat is done.
All right.
Also, I want to remind people, I believe that when you miss with a castle move, you get to mark void, right?
You mark world.
Mark world.
That's right.
When you fail, you mark the place you're not in.
Yeah. So
That's mostly what I was doing. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
So please make sure to go back, and if you forgot any, go ahead and
So
And I
I-
misread
yeah.
my die roll. I actually failed that roll, but I still get advantage. I just mark a condition instead of.
That's right.
Void.
I think I missed twice in the castle.
yeah. So
two
mark
marks.
yourself a couple of world there.
Okay.
And Sasha, what would you like to do there?
Well, everybody else's conditions and covenants look fine. So
Pam
I'll
is
go-
about to mark a condition.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm remarking Callus because I'm sort of looking for. I'm taking a world. It's the only one that doesn't hurt me as much as the others. But I'm remarking. I'm also sort of looking at this kid's mind from a high, like high above, very analytic perspective, So it's very easy for me to not feel empathy for him in the process of that. I think of note, I think the architecture there is sort of the way that somebody develops a software program, where it's like you've got your utility structures, but you've also got this custom chunk of code that's doing all the work and just kept accreting things on top of it. And we want to go towards that stuff, not all the random, not all the random extra programs that got linked in. We need to go for the customized code that's running the whole thing. That's where we're going to find the heart of it.
All right. So Sasha, what do you want to do?
I do think I'll go with my shelter move still, which is ask the architect what danger should we be on the lookout for, and they answer honestly.
You have cracked this young man's psyche prior to going in, which means that when you do defeat him, you are going to need to get out of here as quick as possible, because all of this is going to come crashing down. It is badly holding together right now.
Oh, exciting.
Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah. And I think Sasha will spend a lot of our time here after Gabriel sort of talks up the fight, just like constantly pacing, and like looking out of the edges of the shelter that we have here. And he says, "This place, it's just feels like a bad wind could cave it in at this point."
So gather yourselves together out of this side room, like a break room kind of place, and head to travel the labyrinth again. Pam, do you want to do that roll since you have advantage?
Sure, and I believe we're at a plus. Well, I'll mark void, so we'll be at
Okay.
a +3.
+3, and you're rolling with advantage.
Right. So, at least 50-50 shot here.
Yeah.
All right. So that is a 13.
That is a 13. So you will follow the line that Gabriel found with his senses before, and the bird's eye view that you found, Pam, as you're meditating, and the four of you are moving through. As you get deeper in towards where the heart of this shard is, I think there are weird moments of deja vu and familiarity as you're moving along. And it takes a bit to put together exactly what it is that is familiar to each of you. Maybe not to Gabriel, but to Pam and Charlotte and Sasha, as you're seeing the architecture, you're seeing the building design, you're seeing the things like that, the hallways, and you realize that so much of this is lifted from BioShock. Like all of that architecture and design and stuff, he like thrown those buildings and pieces together, and it gets kind of weirdly steampunk in places as you're going along. Like this is the only like other context he has for these kinds of philosophies and such. And you will move until you find that you're at, I feel like maybe you've gone down a ways. You're at a big like hall. There's a great set of doors that are gilded beautifully decorated. There's the statues, the sort of the facing angel statues on either side with the swords and so on. And you kind of push in, and it's a grand hall. There is kind of a circular space in the center where there's this rotunda kind of thing with screens on it. There are screens around the side, and it looks like a weird kind of stock trading floor. There are people all around, minions that are kind of mingling around and about, and you can see on the screens, rather than displaying sort of stock info or anything like that, it's people's personal information. And you can see that there's like a giant ticker tape machine that is going on in here. Tell me, Gabriel, what's the bit here when you kind of look at the scene that is most familiar to you from your past? Like what is it about the organization or the way the minions act or about the atmosphere that reminds you of that?
I think it's very clear that the minions and the little things running around, they're all almost like automatons. There's almost no self-awareness about them. There's not any kind of sentience to them. There's no life behind their eyes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, just that sort of memory of having been in that drone mode for more time than you can even imagine. Charlotte, when you look around this room, and again, imagine high ceilings, probably like walkways around for people to watch from up above, great crimson curtains, garish, everything is in red and gold here, deep wooden floors, the stockroom kind of floors, everything else, all the mechanical bits and things are all in brass. It's very shiny. What is it here that is the piece that you need to disrupt, the thing that you need to go and disrupt to kind of summon him here and to disrupt that connection?
I think that there's actually, it's the main display, which has the sort of thing of the status going by. And then, so it's like that sort of central thing. And it's like the one display that actually has quite a bit of like detail, and it's clear and non-fuzzy. And it's got, instead of the numbers, it's like, I want to say, it's like people's names, but they're still kind of coded like with numbers, so it still has that format of the ticker tape. But you can see it's information like the stuff that he's gone seeking for, and it's like just kind of hidden in there in that format. But if you actually read it, you can like read it once you kind of drop out all the punctuation and the spacing and stuff like that. And that's kind of like what he's looking at. And it's almost like he's like staring at it so hard that like it speeds up sometimes, and then it slows down.
And Pam, what is in this room, what is the physical obstacle that keeps right now you and your group from immediately getting over to that thing, that screen?
It's the rush of people on the floor.
Yeah, just lots of people everywhere, moving and milling,
yelling and waving their arms excitedly. And,
yes.
Trying to grab each other's attention. Yeah.
Fake enthusiasm, ticker tape papers, all of that. And Sasha, what is the thing you see that tells you that illustrates that fragility of this space as a whole?
I think as those ticker tape machines like constantly spit out numbers and paper, it's spilling into piles on the floor, but it never like the piles never grow because if you look closely, they actually get pulled out and woven into the structure of the floors and the walls and the furniture in here. It's all just a cyclical loop of the same made up numbers supporting themselves over and over again.
And so we kind of see that, we feel that sort of sound of the voices. No one is talking, but there's that like echo of murmur of voices and shouting going on. And we see you for making your way over to that screen, and like, do you think it's a mental concentration? Do you think it's a physical thing that you all have to do to strike at this thing? Is there like what do you think that looks like, Gabriel?
My first thought is to go with kind of like a physical strike. Something that is not necessarily violent and destructive, but at least forceful.
Maybe the four of you gathering together, picking something up and like all like throwing it at it or something like that.
Just kind of everyone hefting at once.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then we'll see you all gathered. Do that and throw. Charlotte, would you roll me 5d6?
Yes. And I apologize.
For how amazing this roll's gonna be.
Well, it's a 6 and a 5 and some 2s and a 3.
So
You only use the two highest.
yeah, throw this, hit. We'll see that shatter and that sparks fly out from around it. We see all the figures in the room kind of turn, all these minions turn and face to where you're at. So here's the thing. You have rolled a 10 plus. So you're going to get an additional benefit. Even as you've shattered this connection and made them vulnerable, you get to pick one of these three things. Break their confidence, which means you start with an opening. Get under their skin, give a rebel's weapon the ability to cut through the avatar's sorceries, illusions, and blights, or subvert their power. If you defeat them now, each rebel can pick an extra boon in peace and quiet. Any thoughts, Pam?
I mean, I'm not sure that people are that. I don't know that we really need an extra boon on peace and quiet right now.
Let's look at peace and quiet and see what.
A lot of that stuff is more protracted character growth, and that feels
okay.
like on our first full investigation and everything, we're probably not. I mean, I could be wrong, so I'm just like, there are some things. It's mostly that those are big persistent changes of stuff, about like changing the arcanum of your crew covenant, or expanding the relationship map in a significant way.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the major comments are intense. Move to the major.
So, I mean, my feeling is probably we should pick one of the more immediate ones.
Okay.
But
what,
I mean, I could be wrong.
What do you think, Patrick?
Yeah, sorry.
I like some further power, but yeah, the list isn't ones that I feel like getting two would be just a majorly different story than getting one.
Feel like starting with an opening?
Yeah, we did just blow up his spider goo business suit monster.
Yes.
Um,
Charlotte, Gabriel, are you okay with starting with an opening? Okay. Then I think there is that moment after you shattered it that we see this figure kind of drop down from the ceiling. And it literally is like a super cleaned up, more chromed, shinier version of the Big Daddy from BioShock. It's like, and those are made to be sort of look grim and stuff, but this has been done, it's been tricked out with chrome and stuff, and there's no grit on it. Um, and it begins to trundle forward, and you hear noise coming from it, voices coming from it, information. It's just saying things. There's this the susurrus of that. And the thing is just, you can tell it's angry and it's fury, and the minions begin to move and swell and move like a tide towards where the four of you are. So let's start with, I'm gonna roll the die. Let's start with Charlotte.
So I think there's that thing where you mentioned that, essentially it's just filling the thing and it's moving like, like through water in some ways and all this stuff. But it does have that kind of diver look. And I think almost unbidden, this is when Charlotte first does Mother of Monsters. Essentially, like she kind of puts her hands up, like to, like almost like she wants to protect the rest of the group. And what happens is essentially she crafts a creature. So, and I will pick, I will spend a void so I can choose two.
Okay.
And I think what appears in front of her is a dolphin, and it starts chittering, but it's not like a regular dolphin. It is all neon. It's like it doesn't look like it's cyberpunk. It doesn't have gear on it, but it has all of those fabulous like colors, like almost cyberpunk, like it's
Very,
got
very, very
neon along the
bisexual lighting on the dolphin.
Exactly. And it's clever, and it's like as soon as it pops out, it kind of like does this swim around this Big Daddy, like it's like taunting it, like it's sizing it up, and essentially I will choose that they're knowledgeable and their desires and interests are human-like.
Okay.
And essentially I think I can like choose a weapon perk,
Yeah.
and I'll probably go like shifting, like and then a flaw is, it's so hard to find these things. You got to go hit your list in the right place. So choose mine. So let's see what would be, let's see here. I would say, gosh, how do you choose one? Grazing. the blows are grazing that it would do. Okay. If that makes any sense.
So it has a couple of shifts. It shifts, and it's essentially that it's distracting and kind of swooping past and bumping, and we'll see it.
He clearly thinks it's smarter than he is. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And what does that look like? Like, what does it look like when you summon it? Does it just appear, or do you do something to call it?
I think she does this, and like, and I don't know if she has any sense of it. It's sort of like it comes from behind her.
Okay.
So does that make any sense?
Swims out.
Yeah, exactly.
Just from behind you and starts doing that. Pam, what do? We've got these minions coming, but we've got this opening on him. Like you've shaken him. This dolphin is drawing his attention. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna leap right at him.
Okay.
I'm Yeah, there's no reason to let up. I haven't been
Absolutely.
letting up on him at any point, so I don't intend to do so now. So I'm gonna try to just precisely strike.
Okay.
Actually, wait. There is another trick. I think I may have a castle move that's worth.
Oh,
Okay, I am actually going to I'm going to charge with swords.
okay.
And I'm actually going to this is coming from Sugarhawk, so if I use that move and also use Sugarhawk to get advantage on that move? Or I guess I can do that after the fact. It's an intense. So
Yeah.
okay. So yep, so I'm
Charge
going
an enemy, roll plus swords.
all right, so roll plus swords, which is not as nice as the other option, but I got a 10.
You got a 10. So do you want to exhaust the opening to do one of those effects?
Yes. So I'm going to smash him into the tape machines.
Okay.
And just essentially I'm not sure what his qualities that I could strike could strike through are, but there's one that's particularly appropriate to that.
So he will smash him into that. And I think
whether he
that
gets tied up by the ticker tapes or it's just that like disables him that level of impact.
I think that you take control of the movement that he has and send him flying. And I think that sends him flying, shatters these things, these ticker tape machines. Tape goes flying everywhere. And I think the quality that's broken is his mobility, which this room is his, and he could have moved around here with absolute rapidity despite his size.
Got it.
And I think we shatter that. But I do think that when that hits, when those ticker tapes shatter, that they start spewing out everywhere. And within a few moments, the floor is just covered. It is like walking through sand made of ticker tape, just flooding around in here as this happens. But he is away, so you've gotten some separation between him and the minions, and you've broken that quality. Sasha, what are you doing?
I think as I have seen Charlotte with her arms outspread summoning hyper dolphins from the ether, I'm going to come over and say, that is an absolutely amazing trick. Just hold your hands there. Let me show you one too. And with her in the same position, he's going to like whip off his outlaw's coat and wrap it around what seems to be like an invisible form. He ties it in place with some of his chains, and as the smoke from the coat leaks into this form, you see the translucent outline of an identical hyper dolphin, but made out of smoke and his coat. And I want to try and use my magician's ritual to make a duplicate of the spell she just cast.
Okay, roll plus coins.
Let's see. First, you roll. Ah, jeez, that's a 5. I don't want it to be a 5. That was super cool.
Okay. Do you want to fade a covenant?
I'm gonna mark my crew covenant there.
That makes sense.
And roll one more die. Oh, a 5 is much better than a 3. So a 5, or than a 1. So a 5 and a 3 and a 1 is 9.
On a 9. So what do you want is do you want the same same perks essentially? You would get an additional one.
Yeah. I want it to have the same perk and flaw on the same hit point or two, but I guess you give it a weakness, quirk, or unintended side effect.
Let's see. I think that you will cast that. This is the first time you've done this, right?
Yeah, my ritual, yeah.
Yeah. I think you will do that. And it's not just one dolphin you make. It's a dozen.
Oh.
And they are all flashing and neon and strobing. And while they are very cool and they are rushing and swimming and surrounding him, it becomes incredibly hard to see in here. It is like being in a disco. It is flashing. Plus, you've got this sand going on, and you've got neon dolphins, like Neon Genesis Evangelion dolphins, there, Angel's Thesis, all of that. And it's absolute chaos in here. At this moment. Does that seem fair?
I meant to do some of that.
Gabriel, what are you doing?
I would like to see if I can maybe do a line it up.
Absolutely. Right now, I'm going to say the Dolphins for this moment are definitely keeping the minions back from coming at all of you, giving you that room to get over and to get at him.
Now I have a -1 on this roll, but I'm going to blame it on the Disco Dolphins.
You absolutely should.
So, okay. Let's give this a go. That is a 6, that -1.
Can I help?
How would you help?
Yeah. Oh,
Let's see here. You're trying to line it up.
yes.
My dolphin is actually under my control. And I mean, a little bit to the extent that like I know which one it is. And I think we're both got that water kind of thing going on. So I will just like cite him for you and go watch what he's pointing out.
So roll another die.
Is this a reroll?
Yeah, essentially it'll replace, it's fleeting advantage, so it'll replace one of your dice.
Okay. So re-rolling the 3, hope it's a 4+. No.
So that is still a miss.
Yes, looks that way.
So I think there is that moment when Charlotte's talking to you and you hear the noise of her with you, but there's also all of these dolphins. And it is the call of the sea as well, the sea that you've become part of. And I think that there is a moment there when you are distracted by that as you go to kind of line it up. And that's when the minions roll over you like a wave. And there are these faceless minion stockbrokers that fall on you and drop you to the ground. And they're all whispering, and everything they whisper is, come back, 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 come back. Can I please have you roll push through pain?
Can I use a castle move here?
Yes. What do you got? Tell me.
I'm not, this is the first time I've done this, so I'm not sure how it works, but
Oh.
Sugarhawk's castle move, the moon,
Uh-huh.
it would allow me to mark a condition in order to get an automatic miss on that push through pain.
Yeah.
So do I just say that I'm using that move, and do I have to mark that covenant, or how does that work?
All you have to do is say that you're using it. Doesn't affect their covenant status with you at all. You just have to mark that condition. But you tell us how you change by that connection.
Okay. So it says when you reject your humanities, you throw yourself into battle. Say how your body twists and changes for the rest of this fight. You can mark a condition too, and then there's kind of a pick list here. I'm getting swarmed by a bunch of these minions, right? I'm thinking, and this will also be something that I can kind of, I'll mark a condition in the future to, or maybe if I can mark 2 conditions now, I'll do 2 from the pick list.
Okay.
But I will say that my arms, basically kind of like, if this isn't too body horror-ish, I was thinking they were going to split and fray open into basically a whole collection of squid tentacles, probably 10 for each arm.
Okay.
And each one is going to basically just start sweeping and pushing and wrapping and throwing these minions off of me,
Okay.
such that I'm beaten back, winded, but otherwise I have pushed through pain down as I miss.
Mark those conditions. You've got that weapon now. You've pushed through the pain, but you look very different. And I think that the thing that may bother you is that Charlotte sees you change.
Sure.
But brings us back to Charlotte.
Ooh. And I think I do think she sees that, and she sort of touches like your shoulder as she's going by, and she goes, wait, I think I've got this. And it's very much a thing of like, she not like she sees what you're doing, but to her, it's an effect just like it was her summoning the dolphin to begin with. That like your hands are like a different version of that. You kind of get that feeling. And she's going to try to do that line up or, cite the thing or whatever
Right.
too. So, and just like she said, she's going to follow the lead from her dolphin.
Roll
So-
plus coins.
Okay. Well, dices, I hate them. Okay, 2d6, I'm adding 1. So that gives me a 7.
That is a 7. So on a 7, you're going to create that opening.
Yes.
And you need to pick 2 though. Well, first, tell us what that opening is. Like, what do we see as the spot that you can communicate to your fellows?
So he's got that like big daddy thing. Isn't there like, don't they have a thing where they like typically carry like a little kid around with them or something? Am I thinking of the right thing?
Yes, you are. You are.
Okay.
I don't think you mean, do you want to manifest something of that sort there? Do we see something like
I
that?
just think if I remember correctly, there was kind of like when they had them, didn't they like have like a little frame that they held on to? Like when they
I think they can hold on to that.
Yeah, so there's like a thing, and I think she points that out as that's a thing that if we can get that wrapped up or tied up, that'll take away his ability to move around or some of his control. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. And what do you want as the 2 picks from the 7 for the 7 and 9 on the line it up?
Yeah, I want them all, right? Yeah, because
No, you
they're
don't.
good. No, I know. Let's see here. I'm heading over there to the right place to look at the line them up. Let's see here. So why can I never find it?
G32.
Oh, there it is, because it's tinier than I expect it to be. I was expected to be much longer. I think it's going to, the opening will only last for a few moments.
Okay.
And I think that he's going to send an attack my way.
Okay. So there is that as you can get up, the dolphins are swarming around, and we'll see him kind of stand up and he swings out with that drill arm and he slashes through your dolphin and does that first hit on that dolphin, and it kind of reels back, and all the dolphins kind of reel back and regroup and come back in. First hit It absorbs it. Second hit will destroy these. Will kill these dolphins.
I know, and I love dolphins. So I'm regretting my choice right now.
Exactly. Pam, there is an opening.
All right, well, I'm gonna try to take this box thing, I guess,
Okay.
that it's holding. Yes, the it's control device.
Let us
Um,
have you roll. What do you think that is? How are you doing this?
So I think that this, I'm going up against something mechanical. It's clearly stronger than I am, when I'm not magically enhanced speed. So what I'm going to try to do is disable its is find the weak point in its grip,
Okay.
so that I can cause its like mechanical glove things to fail, and it will drop it so I can grab it.
Okay. Let's have you roll.
All right. I feel like that is a plus coins.
Yeah,
So,
that feels good to me.
all right. So let's see. All right. That is boxcars with a +3. So 15.
15. So you will hit that. And I think there's a moment when you kind of strike at that you see that kind of crackle, and you see two more big daddies appear. But then they explode.
Oh golly.
Like they blow up.
Right.
Like his Hydra head power, and he didn't get a chance to activate to make more copies of himself, hits and gets destroyed. That will send you flying backwards.
Oh yeah, I expect.
Yeah, probably a couple of the dolphins catch you, keep you from smashing down, but he is on his last quality. Sasha.
Well, and what is the state of the putty people and Gabriel at this point?
Gabriel has thrown them off. And Gabriel looks quite different than before.
Yeah, Gabriel got serious all of a sudden.
Serious and a cephalopody.
A little bit, yeah.
Ain't no body like a cephalopody. Sorry.
Well, I think probably want to line it up.
Okay. What
So
does
yeah,
that look
I
like when
wanna-
you line it up? I mean, is this from the shadows? Are you moving behind him? Are you riding a dolphin? What are you doing?
I think this is full on ridiculousness, because I do think he throws out his chain, which sort of catches a couple of the shadowy hyper dolphins, and one on either back. He goes riding through the air, trying to get different angles. Get around outside of
Right.
its view, see it from the back.
All the flashing lights, the strobing, all of that. Let's have you roll with coins.
Coins. I have a thing. Yes, I do have +1 coins. So you there do a thing. It's an 8.
It's an 8. What is the opening that you see?
What's his remaining quality?
Oh, that is the broadcasting of revelations and secrets from probably coming out from the speaker, sort of directed into your ears. You're probably hearing it, but it's not. He hasn't been able to focus it to release, your inner shame out to the public.
Yeah, so he's got the Big Daddy suit, and it's sort of that like giant robot diving suit sort of look to it, isn't
Yeah.
it? So it's got this big like what would be an air hose cable coming out of the back of it, but instead of like feeding air down to him, it's just piping all of this bile and secrets and damage out from him and into the system. So there's a linkage there.
What do you want as the 2 costs for line it up here as you spot that?
That's probably a short last opening, as I'll call out to the others that he's plugged in back here. Cut this off and he won't be able to affect the systems anymore. And then of course he hears that and he'll protect his cord in a minute. And then he's probably gonna tag me.
And that's the thing, is another swings out, hits your hyper dolphins, sends you flying off of them, but they can take 2 hits. This is the first hit it absorbs, and kind of pushes back. The minions are swarming around, but the dolphins right now, I think, are probably, I think this is where the dolphins are going to be getting their last moments, as the minions are rushing over to try and help him. And the dolphins are expending themselves, keeping them clear. Gabriel.
Their beautiful flashing dolphin magic.
Absolutely. It looks like the side of a very, very aquatic van. Gabriel, there is an opening.
Yeah, let's go ahead and strike for that.
What does that look like?
So in order to advance towards this thing, I am not going to be using my legs. I am hefting myself up on my tentacle arms, and they are moving me forward.
Oh, nice.
In the most just terrible way towards this thing. And then we're going to, latch on and begin kind of raking and scaling and moving forward. And at a certain point, it's almost like I am just kind of this limp puppet that is being pulled by these strings in the form of the tentacles and such.
Perfect. That feels like direct force.
I think so.
I am willing to just try to yell and distract as I'm charging, picking myself back up to charge in to provide assistance on this. Help out.
Gabriel, roll with advantage on strike.
Okay. All right, that'll get you 13.
13. What does it look like when you shatter this, when you break this?
Remind me, is this its final quality?
Yes.
Oh boy. I think there is a scraping of metal as the works and kind of the cogs that were making up this thing begin to jam up and grind. The whole thing begins to sort of lock up, and you see these kind of nuts and bolts and gaskets begin to pop off and fire everywhere, and minions are getting popped in the back of the head by these bits of metal as they're flying off. This whole thing is turning into kind of a almost like a pressure cooker, I think, just fit to explode at any moment.
And it will shatter. And I think that we see like everything around here sort of shatter in, and it is now very Bioshocky. Like water is breaking in through the walls. Everything is getting washed away. But I think you all have these dolphins, and I think you can grab onto them. Or Gabriel, you are an aquatic creature right now. You can just sort of, as it's all getting washed out and away, as this shard gets essentially restructured. So there's this crackle as you've broken this vassal's avatar, which means the power that they have is yours to control. So as for the vassal, they're stripped of their castle-given power. Each of you gets to, when we're now, by the way, on the miscellaneous procedures tab, and we're on the E column, reference 1.3.7.8. So each of you is going to get to pick, this is a tier 1 foe. You're going to get to pick one from the rivers in the desert. So let's start with that. Charlotte, what would you like to pick? There's reformation, liberation, expropriation, redefinition, and occupation. And as I understand it, multiple people can pick the same thing. You are muted, however.
I've met his mother. I think without any sense of anything else, my sincere thoughts are for reformation. Yeah, essentially. Yeah, I think, I think that's the one that's for him.
Okay.
That gives him that chance to start new.
Then go ahead and mark world.
Okay.
There will be a retaliation check in a moment, but we'll have you roll with fleeting advantage.
Okay. Wait, what does that do?
So retaliation is essentially the pushback from the greater forces of the castle against
Okay.
you.
All right.
Pam, what would you like?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Fit at the wrong moment. So unfortunately, I was leaning towards reformation as well, but it doesn't seem like it's worth doing that twice.
It gives you a mechanical benefit. So if you want to choose that, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, because I can mark world.
Yeah.
I'm okay with not marking world.
Okay.
I think most of these involve marking something though.
Mark world or mark void. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am leaning towards actually liberation.
Okay.
And blessing a location, unless anyone has a alternate idea. I was going to bless the library because I think they need it most.
That's a great idea.
So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say that I'm channeling some of this into helping the library.
Okay. I'm going to put a little asterisk by the library on the relationship map.
Okay, awesome. I made it shiny.
Nice.
So
what about you, Sasha?
I want to do occupation.
Going to occupation. You take the vassal's place in the castle's hierarchy. Mark void and gain a black mark in fealty. That's a permanent black mark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So long as you have the black mark, you gain these benefits. Tier 1, you have a sense of who your superior is in the castle's hierarchy. At the start of each investigation, the architect will give you a vision of what the castle at large is working on in the city.
And I think sort of what that is like the next time Sasha goes to sleep, he ends up back there in that shard that's sort of like falling apart, and he finds that one business suit putty man from the boardroom that he had sort of connected with, and pulls him up out of the like mud and deformation and sort of makes him again, as he says, "Nothing happened here. Everything is running fine. You make sure that everybody knows the operation continues."
Business, 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 business,
Business.
business.
Yes.
Gabriel, what about you?
I was also thinking of taking occupation, but I don't know how that would work if we have multiple people taking the vassal's place in the castle hierarchy.
Share the position. I don't assume there's a problem with that.
It's up to you how you want to do that, Gabriel. If you feel like that's the right way to do it, or if there's something else that's more interesting.
I'll circle back and I might take up occupation the next time we have
Okay.
a vassal defeated. I think I'll take expropriation right now because I think I do have a crisis on me. It's dire, I believe.
I do want to remove that hunter from the equation.
I think so. We'll go
Okay.
with that for the time
All right.
being. And I mark void. That maxes out my void marks. What happens at that point?
So what you'll do is you'll erase all those marks and you get another rank in void, which means that you get to choose an advance from overwhelmed by the void.
Oh, okay. We'll take a look at those.
Okay. So let's look then at the miscellaneous procedure. So that is our picks there for the rivers and the desert. So we go to see all of you coming out of this place. I think that like you won't see, if you check back here the next few days, you won't see him at the location. But I think what you will see when you kind of check the news and things like that, you will hear that Marta Kubiak has taken a leave of absence. And I think from kind of checking around that kind of thing, you have the definite sense that Russ is essentially checking himself in for therapy. And that like he's going away to do that, and that Marta is going with him to support him. Like that kind of connection, like they are taking time to go away and do that. And I think that like the last thing you see is Kubiak essentially some public apologies via his anonymous handle, but also blowing up those message boards that he was doing with those groups, like destroying those so that they can't easily reform. So once the investigation is over, all your rebels go back to their normal lives. As this drama passes, all your major covenants fade.
Do we do the? I think we do the retaliation first.
Do we do that first?
Mhm.
Okay.
We have advantage on it.
Okay. All right. So let us go. So the lead rebel rolls a check set by the state of the vessel's clock. So right now it is a 2 for passive. It's a tier 1. Sherry, you have advantage. So would you please roll? The only way you could fail is if you rolled like a bunch of 1s.
So
Or twos.
how many dice am I rolling? What am I rolling?
You're rolling 3 dice and you're checking against a 2. We're back in the city.
3d6, and I'm checking against a 2. Oh, I can mess this up.
Yeah, you could.
Okay. Ooh, watch me do it. There you go.
Ooh.
Okay. So that is a weak hit.
Yep, sorry.
Okay. And that is contact. Someone with power notices the rebels and seeks an alliance. I am going to put a pin in that, if I may. I want to bring that back for next time, and we'll kind of start with that. But now, so we just make that one roll. Let's go to the peace and quiet now. Everybody fades their covenants, the major covenants, but not your crew covenants.
Oh, okay.
Oh, not the crew one?
I don't think your crew covenant fades.
Right.
Okay, cool.
And if I've got one that was already faded, what happens to it?
I think it just stays where it's at, faded. Essentially, it's just anything that was active goes to faded, so that you have to do a little more work to kind of bring it back up.
Okay.
It's a punishment incentive to get you to interact with your NPCs.
Oh, okay.
Now, everybody has quelled their crises. So everybody gets to make a choice on the boons here. You also can choose, if you don't want a boon, you can also opt that way. Pam, what do you think?
I'm looking at these. I think okay. I am considering either adding a new location to the map or showing one of my covenants they matter. I'm leaning towards adding something to the map because I'd like the
Sure.
Kowloon walled city to reappear.
Absolutely.
So what I'm trying to remember what we called that. We got a brief name for that, but
oh yeah.
Bartertown?
Oh, Bartertown.
Bartertown. So
Thank you,
yeah,
Sharon.
so I'm leaning towards putting in Bartertown. That's already has a connection with
With the
let's see.
library?
Oh no, I guess with Leslie. No, not
Okay.
Leslie. Oh no, I have a contact who's not on the relationship map either, so I should fix that.
Yep.
And so
Yeah. So go ahead and add that in, and we'll figure out what you want to link it to.
Mhm.
Sasha, what would you like for peace and quiet?
I think I'm gonna show Sugarhawk that he matters and
Okay.
start that Covenant intense. I feel like I just had a good connection scene with
Yeah.
Sugarhawk, so I want to focus my time on other people this time around.
That makes sense. It's a smart move, and it fits narratively. Gabriel, what about for you?
I'm thinking maybe I'm just trying to think of how I would do it. I think mechanically it's a smart move to make. I think I might bump Victoria up to a major covenant.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't know if that makes sense in the fiction.
Oh,
So
I think that
might
makes sense. You have time afterwards to go and interact with them. Yeah. This is it. You have we take that a few days have passed or some time has passed, so you can do that.
yeah, just kind of looking at the other options. I think that one looks best to me.
What do you think about the Arcana?
That's the thing I would need to think on because there's so many
Interesting.
options.
Yeah. Why don't you make a note of that, and we'll talk about that next time. What you think is
I'll circle back
appropriate.
around to it.
Yeah. Charlotte, you are muted.
It's a super hard question. Wow. I think any new contacts on the map. Okay, I think show someone they matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what you see is Charlotte has, she borrowed that suit from Terrence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she'll go back and, she will because she's taking it to the tailor to get it fitted for Gabriel. So take it back to the tailor, have the stitches taken out, and then have it cleaned very nicely and all of that stuff. And she will go back to Terrence and kind of thank him very, for the suit. And they'll end up like, just spending a day together
Mhm.
where they don't do anything that school things or any of that stuff. And it's not like it's like romantic at all. It's more just both of them are just like there's that thing is Terrence is very intense and Charlotte has had a very intense time. So it's really just them sort of unraveling.
Mhm.
And they actually, like, unlike usually when they kind of needle each other and things, neither of them does that. It's just sort of so they both kind of come away from this feeling very positive about each other because it's sort of in spite of themselves thing. If that makes sense.
Excellent. I think that seems perfect. So you'll
Okay.
clear that.
I guess that makes that an intense, or
It
No.
removes the faded nature of it.
is that all it does? Okay, that's good though. I will take it.
So wrap up, end of session. We leave a few things out that we're going to start with next time. One is the contact, but also kind of like what has happened in the meantime. And we'll talk about the next vassal, who will be a tier 2 vassal. We'll talk about what that means. We'll reset those various clocks. But we do the end of session wrap up, which is on H70 or so. At the end of each session, we're going to take stock of what happened. Each rebel what made the biggest impact on them. Gabriel, what do you think made the biggest impact on you?
I'm thinking, well, I quite liked when Charlotte said that what you did was inspirational. Would that fall under making a difference to someone?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, and that means I intensify my covenant with Charlotte. I don't know if that's already intensified because it's a crew covenant.
And unless you faded it during play, then it would be the same where it was.
It just stays put. I think that's fine though. We'll still
Okay.
get to Mark World.
You do get to Mark World. Pam, what about for you?
Well, I'm coming back to my original purpose with this mission. The reason sort of I brought up, or the Doxer came into our attention in the first place, was because of them going after Amira. And I think that that getting rid of the blacklist and protecting the people she's organizing has really helped them. And so I feel like that to me is the thing. I felt like I was being very matter of fact with handling things in the castle, as it were. But it's the purpose is what I'm following on.
Okay.
So maybe with the increased capacity at the library, Amir is actually able to get a job there, and at least their crisis is not a problem.
So do you feel is that the make a difference?
Yeah, that's I'm trying to make. I
just
feel
wanna
like
make sure.
No,
Okay.
that's what I'm leaning towards. Yeah.
Okay. Then go ahead and mark that world and intensify that covenant.
Will do.
What about for you, Sasha?
I think the last time we dove into the castle was a very nerve-searing, fearful sort of encounter for Sasha. Whereas this time we were together as a group and we were strong and we were competent and we overcame things. So I think it's going to be that I focused on my own battle with the castle. Mark void and shift a point.
I like that. And what about for you, Charlotte?
Oh, I think this was one where the crew helped me, like all the way through that castle. So I think, well, everyone was totally helpful, but I do think Sasha showing up right at that last minute and pulling me out of the situation with out of the goo that I was stuck in, much appreciated. Or was it? Yeah, it was Sasha that came and saved me at the so.
Yeah.
Though Pam did too, and so did Gabriel. You all were awesome. So it's unfair that I have to choose one.
So
You
you're
got
gonna
stuck in a lot of goo.
I was very like, yeah, I was, and I had all that horrible web confetti on me, and
so that's the crew helping you.
yeah, it's a crew
So you clear a
helping.
condition, and somebody else gets to clear a condition. Who else?
Yeah,
is
and
cleared
that's
again?
why I named Sasha.
Okay.
Unless someone else has more, I didn't look. I was just.
So-
This is very hard.
So that's our session. Next time we'll like do a little bit of the aftermath. You know, the time in the wake of this, we'll look at giving the opportunity to refresh those things. We'll set up that next mystery and look at those gauges, get those things all set. I wouldn't mind if everyone is cool with it to do a quick stars and wishes. Is everyone good with that? Let's start with Gabriel.
Yeah, so I think stars for me are going to be just all the neat fight scenes. I really enjoy the play-by-play, bouncing perspectives around, kind of cinematography to it. It was very neat, especially getting Gabriel to do more of his Inhuman playbook stuff. I especially liked getting to use the castle move from Sugarhawk, where I was sprouting tentacles around and all of that fun stuff. But other than that, yeah, no, I've just stars all around. I thought it was a really good one.
Okay.
In terms of wishes, I'm interested to see what the next vassal, the next investigation is going to look like, of course. Also going to be looking forward to getting some time with Asteria. They're a really cool NPC, and I haven't gotten to really hang out with them just yet. So I'm looking forward to that. Would maybe like to kind of have some contact with Sugarhawk. I haven't had that yet, and I need to figure out what I'm doing with Victoria. So I guess more NPC contact.
Okay.
Is my wish for next time.
More NPCs. Perfect. Pam?
So so stars, everyone I think was getting into the combat mechanics and the exploration. I really liked the paint the scene stuff that you're doing, Lowell, for the travel of the labyrinth. I thought that was very good. And I'm looking forward to seeing how we come to an investigation with more understanding of how the systems work.
Mhm.
And also of how the systems are really mean when you let things go. So, so that should be fun. And I guess I agree wishes wise. I kind of want to build that relationship map some more and expand on some of the NPC relationships.
So
And yeah,
I think that's a smart and a more than reasonable request. Sasha?
This was a very cool wrap up to this first arc, this first villain. I really liked the battles through through the filing cabinet business suit goop spider, and through the like out of date video game references. Both very like, it was just cool. It was a perfect sort of layout through his mind. I especially love the Lisa Frank Hyper Dolphins moment. Infecting our dark fantasy. It was wonderful. I had to jump in there and play with Hyper Dolphins as well. And just stars, thank you all for like just going with me, being a presence for a while, and then just sort of sliding into the game. That went very smoothly, and I appreciate that. And then yeah, just getting finally getting to see almost all of the moves.
A majority, a simple majority of the moves I think we've seen and interacted with.
more than half, probably.
Yes.
Wishes. I'm looking forward to seeing not just our new villain, but how like a tier 2 vassal is a different beast than a tier 1. Like how the dangers and impacts of them shift on this next investigation. And also I feel like we've sort of touched in on all of the NPCs once or twice. We've sort of met them and gotten to know their initial states.
Mhm.
And so I'm looking forward to like, okay, now we know who they are. We don't have to introduce ourselves anymore. What's the sort of like deep relationships that can come out of the NPCs?
That makes sense. And Charlotte.
This was good. Everyone brought it in the fight, and by that I mean their descriptions and their strong sense of themselves and what they wanted to do. It was very fun to watch. And Lil, you did a good job setting up a really kind of creepy scenario, so that was awesome. It was, I think, interesting to watch, like the system does have a good thing of setup, fight, take complications. We made it through, so I'm super impressed with this because there were lots of, I literally leveled up my void tonight on all the misses, and we somehow muddled through. So yay. And I'm looking forward to figuring out how we handle our growth then. And I know that there's stuff that's built in for like sort of doing restarts and recreating yourself. So recreating your identity and stuff like that. Gosh. And then wishes, I am looking forward to more NPC stuff. I think I definitely want to bring one more NPC in, and then, essentially visiting or getting mixed up with my other ones. And yeah, so I am looking forward to NPCs too. Big time. That's always the fun thing.
Excellent. Thank you all very much. That's good stuff, and some nice signposts for me to work from. I am going to stop the recording.